A shout out to our podcast sponsor, sportswashing.co.uk. If you or your business are interested in making a real difference to the Scottish game, supporting hundreds of kids into regular football, get in touch with sportswashing.co.uk and they'll find the right fit for your brand.
Sunday morning, up with the lark. I think I'll take a walk in the park. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. I've got someone waiting for me. And when I see her, I know that she'll say, hey, 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 it's a beautiful ha, 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 beautiful Sunday. This is my beautiful day. When you say that you love me. Oh, my, it's a beautiful.
Sensational, sir. Sensational.
Thank you. I didn't realise a verse in a chorus would be 1 minute. I assumed it would be less than 30 seconds. Missed
That's
90
incredible.
songs.
I
1
thought you
minute
doubled
long.
up with the verse there.
I didn't know
I don't
what
think
was
you're
the
going to
chorus.
stop.
But... there we go.
Hello everybody, welcome to Tinpot. This is episode 34. That was Matthew Strugnell on vocals and Andrew Guild on percussion. our two regular guests here on Tinpot. My name's Tom Leask, back for more Scottish football action. And if you hadn't tuned in to Friday's episode, that was a forfeit for Matthew for losing the Scottish Cup predictions. So
Yeah.
at least you stayed true to your word.
Of course. No surprise there that I lost, so been practicing since bet was made.
Yeah, the final scores from the Predictor League were me on 11. Andrew had submitted his answers after listening to the episode. He wasn't there for the recording on the Thursday night, and he was on 7 points in second place. Matt all the way down on just 3 measly points from the 15 games that took place.
Ron Measley.
Yeah.
One of the
Ron
three of us is
Measley indeed,
Tinpot,
yeah.
and he
Not
has
me.
to sing songs as a punishment. Anyway, how are you lads? First time we've been together as a 3 for about a week now, so what's been happening? How are you?
Andrew?
Okay. I knocked myself out yesterday, which was pretty interesting. So,
Please elaborate.
to be honest, the most boring story ever. It wasn't anything exciting, like fighting a mugger or something. I just tried to go into my kitchen cupboard too quickly and headbutted the door frame, and just had an absolute splitting headache all day and felt really dizzy. But pretty embarrassing way to knock yourself out. But yeah,
You're actually
other than that, pretty
unconscious?
normal.
You're actually unconscious.
No, I just like had a short
Seen
blackout,
stars.
and then I was just had like a
Jeez.
bit of a headache last night, and I was like, I'll be fine in the morning. And then I woke up and it just felt like someone was like stabbing my head, and I was like, oh, it's brutal, and just felt really dizzy. But when you've got a business to run and a toddler to keep happy, you can't really chill out. So it's been a pretty fucking knackering day. But apart from that, nothing really much else. I went to Rob Beckett, obviously. That's why I missed the pod last week. Which I would say was kind of average, I would say.
Rob, if
yeah.
you're listening.
Yeah.
Dear.
So maybe a bit of a podcast war now, but yeah, it was pretty poor. I thought.
What you doing?
I wasn't, no, but I did shout sort of sack the board at the end.
Sack
a few
production.
times, but yeah. But no, it was okay. It just wasn't like, there was no moments where I felt like I was going to die, whereas when I've been to the last few gigs, I think I've been quite spoilt, and they all had those moments where I was like uncontrollably laughing, but
Yeah,
there wasn't
you set
any
the
bits
bar
that
pretty
weren't
high.
funny. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was good to get out and about. But yeah, that's really me. Went out to a comedy gig, knocked myself out. That was it.
Have you had the sort of on-field head check that you get before you come on the pod? You know, are you fit to play?
Yeah, I asked my 3-year-old to do that, but she just hit me in the head with like a toy, and I think that was just a sign of you're all right. On you go, keep going, you're fine.
Yeah, this is the 90s we're playing in.
Swiftly followed by a headbutt in the balls, which is
the old combo.
So perfect height for that at the moment. So just took a run and just absolutely went for it. So that was good. It's been nice spending time with the family, isn't it? You know,
it's been a painful couple of days for you. The head, the balls, the lack of comedy. Matthew, any pain in your world?
No. Just been eating like a king the last couple of days. My dad's we had a surprise birthday for him at 30 Knots in South Queensferry.
Nice.
So the whole family, extended family, were there to surprise him. I was on like picking up duty because the trains were stopping at Inverkeithing, so I had to go and get mum and dad and that at the train station. I had to pretend that I was like doing it as a favour. And then, like, trying to park in South Queensferry is a fucking pain in the arse, so we couldn't really park near the place. And I was like, well, I could just drop them off, but I have to try and get in there as well, so I pretend like I really need a piss. We found, like, a parking space, and it says, oh, I'm going to piss my pants. So I just ran ahead like a maniac, just, like, sprinting ahead. I'm going to piss myself. But the thing is, we parked quite far away, so I ran past, like, 3 or 4, like, cafes on my way to the place. So, like, I was thinking, why is he just going there? But anyway, I ran in, legged it, fucking took my jacket off, and then surprise, and he was like, "Oh," as you do, cool. And he claimed he didn't know. I think he was unaware. He's as I say, he's stuck in his own wee world of sort of OCD. So I don't think he would have expected anything different. So yeah, that was really nice. Very tasty 3-course meal there. I'd recommend if you haven't been.
3-courser for a big birthday bash. That's
wow.
It was really good.
Wow.
Right, views right on the bridge. It's really nice, so I would recommend taking in on a
30
date
Knots is the place to go in South Queensferry, but I tell you, the place to go in Stirling is Nooch Bar and Kitchen. If you've not been before, fantastic vegan scran, caters to all really. You just got to be open-minded. If you're of the meat persuasion, it's one of the finest places to go. I think it's in the top 10 now on TripAdvisor for restaurants in Stirling. So tells you all you need to know. 5-star rated on TripAdvisor.
Great. I hadn't finished my story there, but that's fine.
To our Nooch Bar and Kitchen, our sponsors. Sorry, mate, the story felt like it was kind of done. The surprise had happened. 3-course meal. It was a good restaurant.
Saturday.
I mean,
that was Saturday. The thing was, he didn't know it was a surprise.
And it's impossible to go back now, is it? I swear to God.
He didn't know it was. So he'd organised a meal for the Sunday. So on the Sunday, the day after, we had to go to the Victoria Hotel in Kirkcaldy for a high tea and toast. Can you believe that?
Oh.
You know,
that's good.
I'm really glad we went back to the second part of the story.
Have you had a high tea before?
Yes.
What happens is they rock out with toast and tea and got a coffee, and then they give you the main meal, and then they give you cakes. It's incredible. $18.95.
I've never had it when they come out with toast first.
Yeah,
toast,
mate. So I know it's just us and loads of old people. It's just crazy. Old people love high tea. You get your choice of brown or white, butter, and then you get your main course, which was like fish and chips, lasagna, scampi, chicken,
It's a pretty
Maryland.
extreme high tea, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, and then they bring out a wee tray of cakes, and that was scones. Fucking hell, it's unbelievable.
Is there a difference between a high tea and a cream tea? Because for me, like, a cream tea's...
Creamy tea?
What's a cream tea?
Finger sandwiches and little tiny bits of savoury, and then
tea.
Cakes and tea.
Yes, afternoon tea. High tea's different, man. You get a main course.
Oh, sorry.
Hot main course.
I don't think I've had a high tea before then. I've had an afternoon tea, but...
Yeah, high tea,
you
mate.
get sandwiches and that.
Toast, main meal, little cakes, class, tea and coffee, as much as you want. In the Victoria
Sounds
Hotel.
great.
Shout out to the Victoria Hotel as well in Kirkcaldy. Not quite as glamorous as 30 Knots, but it's doing very well. Nice decor.
Nice.
Yeah, and other than that, mate, just necking the protein. I found a really nice protein mousse the other day in Sainsbury's. One of the best ones I've had. It's my protein team up with Muller to make a salted caramel chocolate mousse. The best one. I'd recommend if you're on a protein diet like myself.
Do you mix that with Monster as well, or...?
Good one, mate. No, just put chicken in it, son.
Just put chicken in
Got
your
some
yogurt.
tandoori chicken chunks and mixed in with a double
He's full
protein.
of shit.
I actually don't know if you did or didn't. That's the thing.
No, I didn't. That's insane. No. other than that,
Whereas
yeah,
a milkshake mixed with Monster is, it's totally fine.
that was a mistake. That was an error. I'm not doing that again. But yeah, thanks for that. Over to you, Tam. How you doing?
I'm allowed to come in now. Is that you finished?
Well, that's my weekend done. Saturday and Sunday. There are 2 days in the weekend.
Oh, okay. We don't need to go through every day that we've not spent together. But if you want to go down that route, you can. I also was at a surprise birthday party at the weekend for our podcast guest, sponsor, and roving reporter from last week, James's partner. Chloe turned 30. Technically, it's not till Wednesday, the birthday, but the party was on the Saturday. Another surprise. And the venue was Nooch Bar and Kitchen, which I did try and mention earlier.
Beautiful.
And it
Beautiful.
was ruddy good. And an impromptu quiz was requested of me, and I didn't have anything prepared, so it was off the cuff, and it was fair to middling. It wasn't the best effort.
Getting the old Baby Bell stats out again, were you?
Neil
Top of the old
McCann
noggin.
Neil McCann and Baby Bells. That's all we discussed. Yeah.
How much does it cost for an 8-pack of Baby Bell Light in Sainsbury's?
A vegan pack of Baby Bells it would be.
Yeah, vegan.
But,
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that
can't
thing?
be talking about that.
is that a thing?
of course, it's a thing. Yeah.
Vegans, Nooch is the place for surprise parties, of course, Tom, as you well know.
Yeah, you've been the deliverer. Sorry,
I
the
did
postman
that as well.
of two
I know.
birthday surprise
I know.
guests. Yeah,
And you were
done well.
surprised at that one, weren't you?
I was very surprised. Yes, very surprised. Very surprised indeed, and more surprised to see Mark Lawrenson appear on the big projector on the wall, which still lives long in the memory.
Classic.
God, I love that man. Right, coming up in episode 34, instead of chatting about protein mousse and banging our heads, we're going to just be looking at Scottish football, which is what we're here to do. Quite simple. Scottish Cup, going to have a quick chat about the weekend's games, the upcoming draw, and again, rubbing it into, maybe get him to sing again, just because he was so bad. We're going to be doing What's the Point in ... which is this week hosted by Andrew Guild. Last week was Matt, What's the Point in Aberdeen FC? And it's back this segment, somehow for another week. Not by popular demand, but yeah, What's the Point in ... Andrew will reveal the main subject later on.
You don't say
Well,
dot. Just what's the point in? Then just a wee
So you want me to leave a pause
Say
instead?
that in.
Yeah. What's the point in? Pause. Nah.
Long pause.
Yeah. What's the point in? Then proceed with your next sentence.
Great stuff, thanks mate. We'll have a quiz at the end and a surprise feature which the lads don't know about yet. I'm going to try and squeeze in hopefully before the quiz happens, and we'll see if it sticks or not. Keen to see how that goes. It's just a couple of minutes of your time. Yeah, surprise to all. So, Scottish Cup action.
Excited.
Andrew, did your team progress in the Scottish Cup round 4?
We did all right. We did fine.
You did well. Yeah.
We did absolutely fine. Yeah,
5-0, I think, wasn't it?
It was a pretty comfortable win. Big rotation with the old team, and yeah, couple of decent goals. Pretty comfortable win overall, I'd say. Yeah, it was
Clean
good.
sheet, couple of
Enjoyed
goals,
it.
home win, through to round 5 against lower league opposition. I think, is that right? Home tie.
Yeah, nothing to worry about during the game. It was all pretty textbook. So yeah.
Yeah, my team, Dundee United, they progressed. They got a 2-0 win at home to Ayr United. Didn't get to watch the game. I was at the party, which I've previously mentioned. But saw the highlights again. Looked fairly comfortable. I don't think we were really threatened too much. Again, another clean sheet, another home win. We go through to another home tie against lower league opposition Spartans. So
Positive.
we're all pretty happy. Matthew, how did your team get on?
A battling performance from the Rovers, unfortunately losing the game 1-0 to Premier League Aberdeen. But we left Pittodrie with our heads held high, and still, what's the point in Aberdeen?
Gave it big licks last week and said you were going to win the game, but came away with nothing.
2 weeks ago I did say 1-0 Aberdeen, so I should get an extra point for predicting it correctly 2 weeks ago.
You'd still be bottom of the table, so
Okay.
yeah. You can have the points if you want.
Thank you.
No, but the big talking points from the weekend, everyone expected Rangers to do well, and they did. There weren't too many other big upsets. Camelin, sadly, were defeated at home to Elgin City 3-1, and there was some crowd trouble at the end with Camelin fans apparently pulling out weapons to steal an Elgin flag. Elgin have since come out and said that I think there were screwdrivers as well. Rumor has it. I wasn't in Camelin at the time. I do have an alibi. I was through in Stirling. But yeah, Elgin have said they will reimburse the fans who lost the flag, just to make sure our listeners know.
It's the sentimental value of the flag. That flag had been in that family for generations, you see, so...
This is true. If I see it in the streets of Camelin, I'll try and steal it back and send it up the road to you guys at Briggs.
Well, I think the Albion Ultras has, they said publicly on Elgin's post, don't worry, I'll get it back, so...
Who's
on
Ultras?
it. Albions, must be quite
Who's
a lot.
Albion?
Sterling Albion.
Stirling have said that.
Yeah.
Why are Stirling getting involved?
I don't know. I just read it. Just
Is it
nice.
Stirling Albion are getting involved about Camelin. Oh, now there's beef. Now there's real beef.
Oh.
I'll be down to Fourth Bank and tell them to stay away from my team, my Mariners. Yeah, Camelin are out. There were a couple of upsets, though. Hibs and Hearts are both knocked out of the Scottish Cup. One of those games was on BBC. One was the Hearts game on Premier late at night on the Saturday. Is that?
I think it was televised. I'm not sure what it was on. I didn't actually catch it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was Premier because I couldn't watch it.
You're not a dodgy box man or a man that pays for subscriptions. Good for you.
I don't agree with the Scottish Cup being on paid for TV. It should be free for everyone.
Well, there was two BBC games: the Dons game on the Sunday and the Hibs
Same with
game.
the FA
Did
Cup.
you catch the
Scottish Cup.
Hibs game, guys, on Samstag?
No, I didn't either because I was doing a surprise twat myself. But did catch the highlights and heard the interviews. It was a great comedy own goal to win the game for Dunfermline. Disappointing scenes of fans invading the pitch. Need to learn to contain themselves. Those
Oh, come on! It was fine. It was good to see. They saw the Pars fans moving about 4 or 5 rows, and they were getting right into it. They didn't cause any harm. They were fine. They just it was an important goal at an important time, and yeah, it's nothing wrong with it. They weren't doing anything nasty. So yeah, I think
get them fines.
you're
What I
bang
say.
wrong there. Nah,
Get them
nonsense.
top points.
Nonsense.
It's disappointing for Hibs really. Not doing enough to put Dunfermline away, missing big chances. Kieran Billy with a sitter could have got one over on his, from Kirkcaldy, the man himself. He wanted to really stick it to the Dunfermline team, but yeah, you kind of hesitate a bit with that finish, and Hibs, it's just sort of a bit meek going out there losing like that. Dunfermline.
I don't want to sidetrack too much, but how the hell is he being touted at a valuation of 6.5 million?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
he's not worth that at all.
Not yet, no.
That's like
No,
me trying to sell
not
my
at
house
all.
for 200 grand, though. It doesn't mean he's necessarily worth that. No one's paid it yet, have they?
No, of course they're not. But I just find it mental that that's anything close to that. The stats for the season really aren't that good, and I mean he's had a couple of important kind of wonder goals, but aside from that,
There's a player in there, though, isn't
way
there?
off
I think
that.
he's.
Of
he's,
course, but it's just not
needs a
right
lot of
now,
work. Yeah.
and that'll be added pressure for him as well, So, you got the both Old Firm teams linked to him, and it's not what he needs right now. He just needs to get the head down at Hibs and crack on with his career. But
Hibs have been
I think all
pretty
this,
smart, though. Sorry.
I was just saying, I think it's all been a unhealthy distraction, and maybe that's why he's not had the best game.
They know that Celtic are desperate, and if they do plump for a striker, I mean, the fans want anyone at this point at any price, pretty much. So I think that's why they've put it so high. If Celtic were in a much stronger position and didn't need a striker, that might have been a bit of a lower price tag. But it's weird that David. I was saying this to the lad at work, who's a Hibs fan. Weird that David Gray's managing a club of the size of Hibs and Neil Lennon's managing Dunfermline. I don't know. Is there a swap deal to be done? The Hibs fans, according to Darren, when he was at the game, he was at East End Park, and he said that the fans were pretty pissed off come the end, and a few people wanting David Gray gone. So I find that strange after last season. He had a really successful year in his first year in charge.
Hibs are exactly where they should be in the league table. Perhaps have been punching above their weight at times throughout the season, being able to remain there so steadily. Yeah, they're out the cup. Yeah, it's an upset. But it is against a Dunfermline team that are trying to build for the future, and that's why they've got Neil Lennon as manager. He publicly said that in his post-match interview that whilst James McPake was there, that as in James McPake was in the studio, he was saying that when he was manager, there wasn't the funds or the backing or the structure, to try and get this team back to the Premier League now with the new ownership there is, and so he's a really good acquisition for them, to sort of go on that long-term journey, and I think it suits Lenny as well because ultimately, he had quite a few ups and downs, in his managerial career, since the Celtic job, and this has brought a little bit more stability for him. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but for David Gray as well, I think maybe Hibs, that kind of manager maybe suits them, understands the identity of the club, but also, isn't a huge ego that's going to demand they do things in a certain way. It allows Malky Mackay to do his job, and I don't think someone like Lenny would slot into a structure with a very dominant director of football, at somewhere like Hibs. But I don't know. I think if they're bringing on another manager, it's going to be another David Gray type. Otherwise, they'll maybe fall into the pattern that they fell into before, and they'll go through a bunch of ditties really before they get to the right one. But that's just my opinion.
Sorry, Mike, you leaned forward as if you were going to come in on that, but
no, I was just saying better having David Gray than some ditty from England like fucking Lee Johnson or Paul Heckingbottom.
Exactly.
I mean, he's doing relatively well at Hibs. I mean, have spent a bit of money, but they're still in the mix for Europe. So
they shouldn't be calling for his head. Like it's insane. Like absolutely insane.
All that's happened this year is too many draws, and the fact that Hearts are doing well probably adds a bit more pressure. The fact that the Old Firm aren't performing to their usual standard, you'd think could they close the gap? They finished well, like fourth well last year, didn't they? Third last year, really well. And anything less than that's going to be a drop-off seen in their eyes. So I can kind of understand it, but also you're sitting comfortably in a position where at the end of the season you can finish fourth and get Europe again. Being out of the cup now is, you should have done better. It was a chance for silverware, but ultimately it'll allow you to focus on the league and get back into Europe again. So I think it's ridiculous if you're shouting for his head. Very daft.
Definitely.
Anyway,
you can't compare them to Hearts. Sorry, lastly, Hibs are going to have to get used to that. Hearts are there with a proper long-term plan. Hibs are not. Not to the same level. So ultimately, they're going to need to get used to that, and they are where they should be in the table. If they were any higher than that, I think they'd be overachieving. So, crazy. I don't like to see that, especially with a Scottish manager. They've got to accept a few highs and lows,
Given so much to the club, hasn't he? So bizarre that they're turning on someone who's seen as a club legend as quickly as they are, because I mean, football's a short-term sort of fickle business, but he's only been in the job 18 months and you're already wanting him out. So
crazy.
V strange. Hearts though probably aren't anywhere near as pissed off about going out the cup. They were defeated on penalties to Falkirk through at Tynecastle. And Matt and I were discussing it last week when you were absent, Andrew, saying that Hearts probably won't be that bothered if they go out the cup, to be honest. What they will be bothered about is losing Beningame and Devlin and Shankland going into that Celtic game on Sunday. That's going to be a pretty tough hole to fill, especially in that midfield, because that's where the game's kind of won and lost against the Old Firm, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They're huge blows. Massive absences for that game. Obviously, I'm sure we'll segue onto the Celtic game in a minute, but based on that display, I wouldn't be overly worried. But it's a rough one. But the thing is, Hearts, this part of football, it's what happens. They are strengthening in this window, though, and they have got a lot of early business done. So, on the bright side, at least they're not as stretched as they would have been, come sort of tail end of December time. So yeah, it's just one of these things. If you had to get a bunch of injuries during the transfer window, is not the worst time to get it, is it?
This is true. Gives the opportunity for a couple of the new boys to probably come in and show what they're worth. But on the flip side, when a team like that goes out, it's so easy to focus on the bigger team going out and not give credit, which Matthew is surely going to do with John McGlynn advancing to round 5.
It pains me when Falkirk do well, because I hate Falkirk, but I just love the man himself. Like John, especially going to Tynecastle, his old stomping ground, fucking getting it right up them. And amazing support from Falkirk, like that's something that they always bring. Really passionate fans. I'm sure if they had a 4 stand, they could fill it with the home fans, but they don't. So, but it's great for them. I mean, I'm surprised that Hearts played such a strong team. I guess McInnes wanted to keep the momentum going, and but I mean, it's come back to bite him a bit with injuries. Then Falkirk just continuing to surprise. Well, not really surprise anymore. They're just continuing to get these brilliant results. Obviously, should have got a point at least against Celtic. They drew with Rangers. They've beaten Aberdeen twice. And now they've knocked Hearts out of the cup. So onwards for them. They've got a great chance this season of going far in the Scottish Cup, finishing in the top 6. John McGlynn waves into sunset as he takes over from Steve Clark. It's just all happening, and it's just looking great.
Yeah, they're going to be licking their lips, Falkirk, I think, at the chance of potentially advancing in that competition. If you look at the likes of Hibs and Hearts both going out, Aberdeen definitely not what they used to be. You've got a couple of all-Premiership ties in round 5. Aberdeen play Motherwell, Celtic play Dundee, and Falkirk are away to what will be an incredible game in round 5 and away to Oakview for a sort of local derby.
Great draw.
And yeah, I mean, huge credit to Gary Naismith as well before we crack on. They've beaten Morton at home 4-0 at the weekend. And my dad tipped it maybe a month or so ago, I can't remember when, saying that Gary Naismith should replace Jim Goodwin at Tannadice. And I mean, it's looking all the more likely.
Yeah, the job he's doing at Steny is amazing. Like, Steny have always been a sort of League 2 sort of team. Maybe had an odd season in League 1 now and again. Never really done anything, but he's consistently... He won them their first title a couple of years ago, League 2. Got them challenging for the league last season, just fell away a bit. And now, again, this season, performing miracles with that team. He's really is an impressive manager. I don't know if the jump to the Scottish Premiership would be too high, but I can certainly see him getting a championship job next season, or even going in there with Steny, the way it's going.
The good thing is John McGlynn sort of paving the way, isn't it? I know he's managed at the top level before Falkirk, don't get me wrong, but the fact that John's gone from League 1 to the Premiership and is holding his own and is doing really well proves that if you can manage at that level, you potentially can jump up a couple of leagues. So he's still a relatively young manager as well, Naismith, isn't he? So yeah, in a few years' time, I'm sure we'll see
great
him right
experience as well in the game. Played at the top level in England, and obviously set up that chance for Ulumo. He's missed it. I always think of Naismith. I think of that. Like, obviously he didn't miss, but he put a beast of a cross. Like, he's a big part of that moment.
I don't think that if you ask many people about Gary Naismith, their first memory is that. But
I just have a picture of that whole moment, like the move down the left and then like great cross. And that was you, Naismith. I don't know who missed the sitter. I know Gary Naismith put the cross in.
Yeah, you're now calling it Naismith's miss.
Yeah, Naismith's miss. Yeah, did he miss it?
Right, coming back to the team that Andrew mentioned a few moments ago, Celtic did advance. They were 2-0 winners at Rugby Park against Auchinleck Talbot, and it took them, I think, till about a half-hour mark, 34 minutes to open the scoring, and then to the 86th minute, I think, to get that second goal. I caught the second half of this game. I couldn't watch the first, but it was very laboured. Celtic struggled to get across the line. Not struggled to get across the line, really, but because the game was pretty safe, but by everyone's expectations, I think we'd said it on the pod here, Matt, on Thursday night, being at Rugby Park especially would be a massive advantage for Celtic. They could bring more fans. The surface is much better than where Talbot play, I assume. But yeah, Celtic fans really upset with that 2-0 defeat. Andrew, you were hearing I think you watched all of the game. You were hearing the chants throughout. What were your thoughts on the Celtic victory?
I mean, they got it over the line, but they made a real hard job of it. I mean, they only had 5 shots on target in the whole game. Against a team that aren't aren't even in League Two. So what more do you need to say? They didn't massively dominate possession. They had 52% possession, so it was pretty easy peasy. It was a terrible display. There's no doubt about that. It was an awful display. But they got away with it and got the result. Talbot really weren't threatening on goal. I think they had like one shot or something. But yeah, the sack the board chance. I mean, they're always going to be there. I just don't get it. In a game like that, because ultimately, are you telling me that team that was fielded wasn't good enough? Or shouldn't have convincingly beat that Talbot team. Shouldn't have dominated the ball, shouldn't have been into comfortably double figures, with your shots on target, etc. It's now becoming a little bit of a scapegoat and an excuse, but yeah, as I said, from maybe a Hearts perspective, facing them on the weekend, I think they take great encouragement there. I know there was some rotation in the team, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like a B side or full of youngsters or anything like that. The lineup was still a very comfortable first team Celtic team, and they were very underwhelming. Credit to Talbot though. I thought their energy, fitness, desire throughout the game was outstanding. The boy Clark in the middle I thought was superb. Just an absolute menace. Really keen to carry the ball. Some of their passing was actually really decent. For a team of that caliber. So credit to them. They hadn't played since before Christmas. So it's a long time to go without a match, and then your match is away from home because it's in a ground you've never played before, and it's against Celtic, the Scottish champions. So I thought they did themselves very proud. Kept it to 2-0. I don't think they were sort of parking the bus the whole game. They were trying to have a go at it. So even more probably embarrassing from a Celtic perspective.
100%, and I agree with your comments about Talbot. Like I say, I watched the second half, but the fact that these guys are amateur footballers and still applying themselves against a professional outfit the size of Celtic after 80 minutes odd, still chasing every ball. It was really only after the second goal went in that they kind of stopped their efforts or stopped trying as hard. But yeah, big credit to them, and just let's all laugh at Celtic, I suppose. And just for those of you who are only listening to this one section, we're not all Rangers fans here. This isn't a We Hate Celtic podcast. It's just let's all laugh at Celtic, because it is right now laughable. You're the biggest team in Scotland, yeah, and you're making these sort of headlines for everyone else by being the way you are. And it's bloody
I'm not having a go because I'm a Rangers fan as well. I was just saying, as a watching that game, it was poor. It was a really poor Celtic performance, and there's no one that can say otherwise. That's it. It's not a biased view. It's just a fact. They were terrible.
Yeah. To be fair, it wasn't referenced in the performance that I'm laughing at. I'm laughing at just how their club is being run. It's more Tinpot than this podcast. I mean, have they signed a player yet? We should maybe do a weekly segment during January for that. Have Celtic signed a player yet? I don't think they have they?
Don't think signed so. That boy on like first or second day of January.
Araujo,
the
Mexican fella.
They took him on, but no, I don't think they've had anything else.
They got him back on
big business.
They recalled him.
I've got an interesting point.
He was holding his shirt up in Parkhead, the lights display and everything. He's back from he's been recalled. John Welsh, good player to be fair. Might well be sad to miss.
You just call him John Welsh?
No, what's his name? Welsh. Sean Welsh. No, what's his name?
Stephen Welsh.
That's right. Close enough. Yeah. Stephen Welsh, he's back.
Changed his name so it looked like a signing. Yeah. Sean Welsh.
See all the memes of
moustache when and that.
Of Tam from Still Game in a Celtic tracksuit saying we've got a new chief of finance or chief finance director or something. Stingier than anything. There was I can't remember what podcast it was today. I'm just gonna rip someone else's thoughts on a situation and pass it off as my own. I'm not really giving them credit, but really interesting point was that Celtic have brought back Stephen Welsh and played him at the weekend against Talbot, which means this season he's now played for 2 different clubs, and he's now not legally allowed to play for a third, so he can't be sold to a different club. So there's a theory going around that they're going to offer a small fee, say 2 million for Maswanise at Motherwell, but throw in Stephen Welsh as a freebie in the deal to try and sweeten it up. So that's the rumours I've heard circulating.
I mean, he's decent, but he doesn't score that much either. I'm sure Motherwell fans are always moaning that they don't score enough goals, and he's like their striker.
Maswanise?
Well, he's done alright, but he's not
Third top
like,
scorer this season, mate.
No,
Yeah,
he is a decent player.
He's decent, but I mean, get a grip of yourselves. You're planning to fucking raid Motherwell, like, embarrassing.
I don't know. To be honest, I think he's a very good player. I do rate him. But why would you recall Welsh to do that deal? Well, surely you would just
Give them 3 million.
I mean, you would just remain him on loan until the point he's signed.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make any sense to recall him, because they would have to pay a fee to recall him. So they recall him at a fee because they would have terminated the loan early, and then they would then be selling him back. So they're whatever fee that they've had to pay to recall, which is just commonplace. They would have done that for absolutely no reason. So it would have been literally the worst business ever. If
I don't know.
that is the case.
Could it be potentially that someone else has shown interest in Welsh and his agent said, "Oh, my player wants a move, a transfer," and by Celtic bringing him back and playing him means that they rule out the option of selling him elsewhere? I don't know. Look, this is all hypothetical nonsense. But
does that mean he can't play anywhere, like not just Scotland?
he can.
Because I knew that happened with Oscar Cortez, and he has then gone to, I don't know, somewhere in South America, and that allows him to then play. I think it was a similar situation, so I'm not really too sure what the rules are there.
Maybe it's outside of Scotland, maybe it's outside of UEFA. I have no idea, but
yeah,
it was just a comment made on a podcast, and I hadn't deeped it, as the kids say, as much as you have just now, and thought about the logistics of it all. But it sounded plausible, sounded like the sort of thing that they would do just to try and save 50 quid. Those cheap bastards. Yeah, so have Celtic signed a player since Araujo? No, that's this week's update on Celtic's transfer business. Scottish Cup, very, very briefly looking at the draw. Aberdeen-Motherwell all-Premiership tie. I mean, it's kind of meant to be a 50-50 game, that, but Motherwell probably favourites. Airdrieonians got a good win on penalties against their league rivals Arbroath, who are going for promotion. So, the Airdrieonians advanced and now play St Mirren. Stephen Robinson loves a cup competition, as we know. Stephen Presley visits Celtic Park for their game. As I mentioned earlier, we've got Dundee United Spartans. Dunfermline Athletic versus Kelty. That's a local derby of sorts, I suppose, isn't it? And
they're from Fife.
that'll be pretty feisty. Kelty are on a pretty poor season, but managed to advance past Cove on penalties. And yeah, I think Lenny would fancy a cup run here against weaker opposition. Elgin City are home to Partick. You'd like to think that, well, not like to think, but you'd assume that's going to go the way of the Jaggies. Then you've got Rangers at home to Stranraer Queen's Park. That's only going one way. And finally, that FK derby, Stenhousemuir versus Falkirk. So a few tasty ties in there, but there'd be a few teams in there outside of the old firm licking their lips and thinking they've got a chance to advance quite far in the competition.
How are you feeling about the game against Spartans?
Well, after they beat us in the League Cup group stages a few years ago, more nervous than I should be, probably. They're flying pretty high in League Two, but the fact that it's at home should be enough to get us over the line, I think. Yeah,
that'd be a good game, I think, to go to. Getting the Spartans end, you know. Well,
I've supported both teams at different points in my life, purely due to location. But Jim Goodwin doesn't tend to have a good record of late against these lower league oppositions in the Cup. If you remember Darvel a couple of years ago, we got knocked out by Queen of the South a few years ago as well at United. So
interesting.
Right, on to the main segment, but to be fair, I don't think this one's going to be too long. It might be. It could be an hour, could be 10 minutes, but it's what's the point in? Pause.
Got you. What's the point in? Yeah.
Andrew, you're the host of this segment. It was your sort of opinion that started this conversation earlier on today, so take it away.
Right, so this is based on a headline that was released today. Probably yesterday if you're listening to this on release day. But what's the point in sports washing Scottish football fans? So 820 million generated through Scottish football, about 450 million of that revenue. So massive positive headlines today. Sky Sports doing their little ad on it, with all the different managers and players and all that kind of thing appearing. And there's been a lot of fanfare about it, just generally. But when you actually dig into the facts and the numbers and have a bit of a reality check about Scottish football, this is probably the biggest example, in my opinion, of using a headline to sports wash Scottish football fans. Clubs are going to the wall every single season, whether it's administration, liquidation, whatever it is, getting dock points, etc. The distribution of wealth is an absolute joke in Scottish football, and that's obviously driving a lot of these problems for 9 times out of 10 smaller clubs. The percentage of revenue generated by broadcasting is only 9%. And to put that into perspective, that's the second lowest in Europe. So no wonder Sky Sports are doing segments on it, because they're probably rubbing their fucking hands because they've got the deal of the century. We're making it really difficult for clubs to generate revenue, tying our hands behind our backs, with lack of alcohol sale, introducing it as if you're, trying to sort of, spoon feed it to a fucking teenager or something. It's ridiculous. When's the last time you had any trouble at, say, a Scotland game, for example? What's the capacity of Hampden? 80,000 or something like that. You're missing out on 52. Then you're missing out on the majority of those people buying probably several pints in a place that is a fucking pain in the arse to get to as well. You're treating everyone like babies, treating clubs like babies, treating the fans like babies. The only reason why that amount of revenue is being generated is because the fans are staying so loyal. They're turning up week in, week out, in a cost of living crisis, with tickets rising in price, and that's what's keeping this revenue generation high and in a sort of trajectory of growth. Otherwise, with the TV deals that have been negotiated, with the lack of support from the SFA, they make it difficult for clubs, to actually perform. You look at Bonnyrigg having to fuck about with their pitch. Who cares? Like, they play in like a really low league. No one gives a shit. It's ridiculous the amount of money they've had to raise there. Like, literally raise it through fans. You've got East Fife having to ask their fans for a transfer budget. All these different things happening all the time. I mean, even when I was exposed to the sort of the bronze level requirements for Kelty Hearts, having to go through ridiculous hoops that just cannot exist, in a small village, is fucking insane. So, no one's making this easy. The Scottish Government have released this extra time incentive on the same week that this report's been released, which is no coincidence. 5.5 million given to encourage after school football. 5.5 million after 820 million has been generated for the Scottish economy is a fucking joke. Absolute joke. So I'm sure a lot of people celebrated the headlines today, but look deeper, and I think it's about time that we demanded a lot more change in Scottish football. So we deserve a lot better as fans than being sport washed like this. So I'm chucking the SFA in the bin, and I'm chucking the Scottish Government that is got anything to do with the sports side, whether as a sport minister or whatever. I'm chucking them in the fucking bin as well.
Very well said. What's the point in ... The SFA could have also been a title there, I suppose, because they're just equally to blame. There are loads of interesting points in that, and with sort of Matthew before has come up with his Scottish Football Manifesto, and it was all quite jokey. But what
Was that?
like in sort of bullet points, headlines, Andrew? Like, what are the main things that you would suggest changing to fix this? Because for me, you're way more involved in the Scottish game than I am, just through your work, and you understand this side of things a lot better, like the finance side of things. So explain to me as a layman, like, what are the main things that could be changed to fix that?
Unfortunately, a lot of it is really, really fucked at almost every level. So you look at, we discussed this, we discussed this months ago with the SPFL voting rules, and how much of a ridiculous majority you need to actually make change. Somebody needs to just grow a pair of nuts and just say, look, we can't do it like this. This is not sustainable. Like, we need to be able to make big decisions, and we need to be able to make them for the good of Scottish football. And not just, the big teams. We're talking about every team in all the leagues, trying to help that pyramids actually work properly. And we need to help the fans out as well. As I said, it's fucking cost of living crisis, and they're holding everything up by themselves, paying silly prices for tickets, etc., travel, you name it. And also not being allowed to have a beer because, it's absolute fucking mental behaviour. Complete nanny state. So to change this, the broadcasting deal needs to be... We can't be the second lowest in Europe when it comes to percentage of revenue generated by broadcasting. We can't. That's ridiculous. If you've got a consistently, we have been... first or second in Europe in terms of attendance per capita. We cannot be in a situation where we are getting a bum deal there.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. We just can't. So that needs to be negotiated properly, and it needs to have the thought of the rest of Scottish football in mind, not just the Premiership. The money that the BBC is providing for championship games or lower league games, League 1, League 2, is peanuts. It's fuck all. It's absolutely nothing. Even getting exposed to, Kelty Hearts, when you did have a couple of televised games a season, you weren't rubbing your hands, because it was just like, well, it's actually more hassle than it's worth, because there's fuck all coming in from it, and it also encourages the fans not to turn up. So we're actually at a loss when we've got a BBC game, coming through, which is silly. So how can we be in that position? That needs to change. That needs to be more agile and innovative, because we are ultimately a smaller operation. We need to start behaving like an innovative, smaller operation. The distribution of wealth needs to be changed as part of that broadcasting deal as well. That's ridiculous. I mean, you look at Falkirk. Through the week, they've offered to share their UEFA income with the whole of the championship, which is nothing. It's 100 grand, but it just shows how much that actually makes a difference to teams outside the Premier League, which is silly. It's absolutely ridiculous that gesture is even has to be there. It's nuts. We have to have less or no restrictions on revenue generation. So, for obvious one is just let people serve fucking pints. Like, Jesus, like, put in a sensible system that if there's trouble or whatever, you're either dock points, you're restricted on alcohol sales, whatever it is, but allow them to do that. Allow these clubs to become more of a sociable day out rather than just purely focused on the football. Let fans have a zone before the game, after the game, stuff's going on, whether that's be, selling more, not just drinks, but they're selling more food. They've maybe got entertainment on with bands, DJs, performances of whatever sorts. They've got all these things coming in as well, which again generates revenue. But if you even just introduce those little things to make big differences, you could be looking at an impact of 1 billion plus rather than in the millions. Realistically, if you think about that just purely with the introduction of alcohol alone, forget about broadcasting, forget about anything else that comes around the match day experience. Forget that. Just that would probably allow you to tip over that edge. So I just don't understand how we constantly restrict ourselves, and it feels very political, the whole time. I'm not saying that's a Scottish Government thing. I'm saying it's an SFA, SPFL, far too many hoops to jump through situation. So just open the gates. Let us do what we can. Let us perform to our ability. Whereas all these clubs are getting stuck in the dark ages because they can only work within these very, very tight boundaries.
Here, Andrew, for the president of the SFA. Come on.
Well, it's just obvious stuff, though.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the thing. It's what every fan is saying. Maybe not every fan is saying what I'm saying about this headline being released today, but every fan is saying, why can't you have a pint at a game? Every fan has said that Scottish football fans, particularly behind the national team, are incredibly well behaved. There's never any trouble. We're liked around the world, and we're also famous for having a good bevy. And there's still no trouble. So why on earth can we not just be treated like adults on that side, and also then allow these smaller clubs to earn a lot more money? Create jobs, stop having to rely on volunteers, stop working from week to week, never mind month to month, seasons to season. Just simple things like that would make a big difference. But I would love to see some serious innovation on the broadcasting side. I really would. I would love to see that. Fine if we can't work with the 3 o'clock kickoffs because of UEFA. Fuck it, no 3 o'clock kickoffs then in Scottish football. Work with Friday night games, work with early kickoffs, work with later kickoffs, but make the match day experience more of an event, so it encourages people to go for a night out at the football rather than just go for the game and come back. Just allow teams to provide that innovation, but at the moment they have no control over any of this. That's the problem.
Interesting. The point about being the best attended country per capita, you're saying improve the match day experience, which would drive more people through the gates. But I mean that in itself is going to generate revenue in the ground. But in terms of viewership, the reason there's not more money getting invested, I suppose, to put it on TV is because not enough people are going to watch it. Therefore, Sky aren't going to pay more money for it, for example, just to put it really basically. But yeah. I think in this country, so if you look at Spain, just as an example, totally different football and culture, but the country's massive, so there's no away fan culture really in comparison.
Yeah.
No one really travels game to game. And also they're so far removed, I think, not so far, but they're further removed from English football, English Premier League. That dominates the viewership, the viewer figures up here. More people would rather watch Man City and Man United than they would Aberdeen Hibs, for example. So how do you get Scottish people to change their opinions on which game they'd rather watch? Like you say, put them on at different times, but there's always going to be an English game on at 12:30 on a Saturday, or 5:30 on a Saturday, or 8 o'clock on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. It's always going to be dominated by that. How do you get people to watch our game instead of theirs? Because that's the only way, surely, that you're going to be able to drive revenue up from broadcasters. Unless you go the outside the box approach, which is maybe what you're getting at. You need someone else to do, I don't know, a DAZN or make a different YouTube streaming or something. I don't know.
Absolutely, I completely appreciate what you're saying, and yes, if you don't have a long-term plan, ultimately, attendances could be negatively impacted by you having a better broadcasting deal. However, the fact of the matter is that we can't be in a position where we're second lowest. That's first and foremost. That's just a bad deal, regardless of extending broadcasting or not. But let's just say in a situation where we did extend it, the more eyes that Scottish football has on it, whether it's at the ground or through broadcasting means, the more commercial revenue that can be generated, as in there's more value of, if there's thousands and thousands of people watching a game that normally would have a few hundred, then there's more opportunities for businesses to, commercialize their products or brand or whatever at these grounds. Whereas at the moment, clubs, particularly smaller clubs, are very, very limited with what they can do. So that could be very, very valuable cash flow that's been then generated for these clubs, allowing them to survive. Also, additionally, it allows them to invest then that money into the matchday experience. So the reason why you turn up to a game is because you support a club, whether it be your team that you've grown up supporting or your local club, that you just like to go to for a day out. But there's more of an incentive to go because there's more of a match day experience. There's more of turn up before, these things are going on, stay behind after, these things are going on. It's more of an entire experience rather than just turn up for the game and fuck off. So that's more what it's like. What I would like to maybe poll out is whether people would pay for, say, a Scottish football subscription. I definitely would. Would I pay the same amount of money that I pay Netflix every month to watch Scottish football games? Yep, definitely. Would I do that with no commentary on the games? Yep. It absolutely would. Would I be interested in watching volunteers do things like commentary and broadcasting and all that kind of thing on them? Yep, definitely. And there would be no like, oh well, this is complete budget compared to Sky. But you could definitely white label a streaming service to do that under subscription model. If we're looking at how many Scottish football fans you have in Scotland, full stop, forget about the rest of the world or the UK or whatever. Purely that, if you got a decent proportion of them investing in a subscription for Scottish football streaming, and those games didn't kick off at 3:00, they kicked off around the UEFA schedule, I can almost guarantee that you would get over 50% of fans probably going for that. If it was an affordable model, yes, definitely. And if they're all paying, well, what would that be? So if you're about a tenner, you're paying 120 quid a year then, say for example, similar to a Netflix, then, what's that times 50% of the population of Scottish football fans? It must be a hell of a lot, so I think something like that could definitely be done.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I think what's holding people back, or what's holding the system back from doing that, is just because it's new, it's different, and what your big sort of opening speech about this is I think people are scared to think outside the box, or scared to, or unable to put their ideas forward because of the voting system, and
yeah,
like we're basically just going down the same path that we've trodden on for 30 years because we're scared to stick our heads above the parapet and look about what might be there.
Yeah,
because that idea makes logical sense, so long as financially it makes sense to do it, and you're not going to lose money, which I can't see why or how it would do that. I would agree. I think I'd pay for that. Most Scottish football fans would.
Yeah.
Then you get more eyes on it, and then it's easier at that point to broker a deal with Sky and say, look, this is what we've currently got, say 5 seasons down the line, these are the numbers we're doing, give us more money than you were last time, for example.
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, it just popped into my head. Most Scottish clubs have the ability to show a game. So they've got the ability to broadcast a game on YouTube. Some have the ability to do that live. Others have the ability to upload that later on so you can watch highlights and such like. If that's the case, and you've even said, let's just say a 50% percentage of them don't have the ability to broadcast them live, take that 5.5 million that's going to do absolutely fuck all with school kids, put it into having decent fucking internet access for these clubs, and let them stream the games. Use the money that's generated from that, pop a percentage of that back into your school kids, which would probably equate to much more than your 5.5 million. And then you've basically paid it off with a loan. So why not do that? A lot of the clubs have already got the equipment there. They've just, maybe half of them have not got the ability to do it live, but most of them probably do. They're just not allowed to, because most of the games kick off at 3 o'clock, so they can't, according to UEFA rules, show that game live.
They don't see the point in investing to get it up and running because they're never going to be able to show a game live. Yeah,
exactly.
Makes sense.
But if you did that subscription model, everyone pays a tenner a month. I mean, happy days. Especially with the cost of living crisis, if you're getting effectively a season ticket for Scottish football at 120 quid because you can't afford a season ticket for your local team, then it gives people access to football that can't afford it. So
I suppose it depends on how
thing?
much of that money is redistributed into the clubs, because if you've got people who, for example, buy, let's just say 15 games a season on the pay-per-view thing that you can do, if they buy 15 of them at 15 quid a pop, that money into the club, we need to make sure that the proportions are right and that they're going to still get drip fed enough.
Of course,
I don't see why they couldn't.
I agree, but the thing is, even if it was a bad proportion, Tam, right, they could still bank that money, put that aside, and then create their own infrastructure to be able to stream the service through their own website, etc., or through their own YouTube channel. They could definitely do that, and then ultimately it means that they're not within the subscription, but they're able to claim 100% of the revenue. It just kickstarts them, if nothing else. So I don't know.
It's a really interesting discussion. It's one that us three should. This is me now proposing to go for a pint at some point. We've not done that for a while. Let's get into the pub and discuss it in more detail, because not that us three can change the world, but I think it's good to at least be on the right side of a thought process and the right side of a movement. So Tinpot got serious there for 15 minutes.
Yeah, because I never spoke, so there you go. I get my nose out of it, let the guru talk about things he knows things about, rather than me butting in with some nonsensical comment. But yeah, it was really enjoyable, really interesting take, Andrew. You certainly make an impassioned case for the game, and I agree with you guys. I would definitely subscribe to that fucking thing, man. I'd love to watch more games of Scottish football, but
your one and only subscription that you'd have.
If I would have to watch bloody Rangers or Celtic versus another team, then I would definitely watch it. I mean, Sky just showed Rangers versus someone else, so it's not really interesting. I'd like to see all games.
I'm an Old Firm fan, and I want to watch it. I'm not purely driven by just watching Rangers all the time. I would love to watch. I don't know, Kelty Hearts versus Cove or something in a bottom of the table battle or something like that. I would love that. And if I could do that, pick a game, watch it, fucking great. That would be excellent value, and maybe it's something that could increase in value over time.
Very interesting, lads. And yet again, I think we hopefully anyway we're going to be sort of forecasting the future for Scottish football. We've done it loads of times this season with predictions about managers changing and teams doing X, Y, and Z. But maybe this is that a premonition? Is that the right word?
I think so.
God knows.
I think so.
Anyway, time for a quick surprise segment, and I hope you don't mind me doing this. It's going to be a couple of minutes of your time. I have been reading a book that I got gifted at Christmas, and it's a shout out to you if you're listening, a Mr. Bruce Walker. Pitches and Pies is the title of the book. Lower League Scottish Football and the Perfect Pie. Nice. Bruce Walker has written the book.
Oh, that's a great book.
It's what we should really be doing instead of a podcast, just going out and watching football, but alas. I'll very briefly give you a paragraph of the introduction so you know what to expect, and then I'm just going to read you an excerpt from Bruce Walker.
Okay.
Introduction. It is my brother John's fault. After reacquainting myself with live football matches in November 21, which was Inverness Clachnacudden versus Brechin City, I started the pie pictures. At each new ground I sent a picture to my brother of a Scotch pie as the main focus, with the football ground in the background. It was in reaction to his brother getting an OBE, and they went back and forth, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go and see more football. So that's where it stems from. There's a longer introduction, but I won't give you it.
Brilliant.
I picked a random game. Wednesday the 5th of October 2022. Banks o' Dee versus Devon Vale. Tonight it's a visit to Spain Park to see a Highland League imposter play one of my favourite teams from my childhood. I liked Devon Vale simply because they played in red and played in the town of Banff. There was something about that town name that I've always liked. Perhaps it was Billy Connolly's joke about being where the Banff pots came from. Banks of D, on the other hand, are a traditional junior club from Aberdeen that have been working their way up the pyramid system. Interesting, they were formed in 1902, the year before Aberdeen FC came into existence. I have spoken about irrational thinking impacting on football, and I have added this club to those who I'm not keen on, without any form of justification whatsoever. I'm going to skip over into the game part now. I decided to not only exercise my jaw muscles, so on tonight's pie... Oh, that doesn't make sense. Bruce, sorry. Experience of north-east grounds meant I was not expecting a Scotch pie, and this was a correct assumption to make. To be fair, the polite lady serving in the cafe underneath the sports centre clearly offered a steak or mac and cheese pie. I went with the steak option, and it was rather tasty, but not as good as a Scotch pie. Never will be. Whilst consuming my pie in Bovril, I could not help but listen to the pre-match music being played over the tannoy. Now, I am not a prude, and I'm not overly offended by foul language, but I have never heard music including so much swearing in the lyrics at a football game. I wonder, who selected such songs for public broadcast? Perhaps it was the Port Glasgow goalie. There you go. A short excerpt from one of Bruce Walker's chapters, which was, as I said, Banks of D versus Devon Vale.
It's a great book.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just every night picking up the book and reading a random game that he's attended and listening to the pie stories and the music chat, and it is world class.
It's fucking brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to you gents for a read afterwards. But
Nice.
I was loving it so much I wanted to give a shout out to Bruce. I hope that's okay.
Go on, Bruce.
Absolutely. Well done, Bruce.
One other quick shout out before I forget. Another commenter this week has been in touch, and let me just remind myself of his name, because we're going to get you named and shamed. Let me see, where are you? On the screen. Yeah.
He's having to scroll through all the comments, you see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is what's happening.
takes
It's not
a while.
Stu Rat. You were last
Takes
week.
a long time.
At @flat_bastard. What's your thoughts on Dylan Loban, the Aberdeen right midfielder, right wing back, potentially right winger, depending on how you see him? He was at Cove on loan last year. He's had a handful of starts this year, none against Dundee United, so I've not actually seen too much of him. But what's your thoughts on Dylan Loban, Matthew?
My Aberdeen source says not a standout, but pretty solid. Thinks he can make it in the Scottish Premiership, so he could make a name for himself at the top flight as a solid winger/wing back. So there's hope for Dylan getting a call up to the World Cup squad, perhaps.
Oh, shut up.
No, but yeah.
Who's your Aberdeen source? Can you?
I can't review my sources, but he
okay.
was not super positive, but he certainly thinks that he can make an impact at Aberdeen and be there for a long while.
So he's 20 now, and he's not really. I don't know. He's not shown too much. Normally, to be a star, you need to be sort of
be a
first team mainstay by
maybe
that
he'll
age.
be
But
a
we can't write him off.
Squaddy. We squaddy up there. Comes on now and again, does a job for you. Hard working down the right hand side, if not too glamorous, but you need those in your team.
You do. Some might say that's Nicky Devlin, to be fair.
He's old.
Oh yeah, he is. Any further thoughts on Dylan Loban for @flat_bastard?
I see he was called up to the Scotland under-21s as well. So he must be highly rated. If I'm being really honest, I haven't really seen anything of him. But yeah, the only thing I would say is playing at a much lower level. You know, he's not having a massive attacking impact, it seems, based on the stats. But I don't know. I'm all for seeing Scottish players do well, and you know, Aberdeen is his boyhood team as well. So if anywhere he's going to be a success, it'll be there, and hopefully they get a manager in soon, and they're the type of manager that gives a player like that a chance. But yeah,
John McGlynn.
can't be bad. Yeah, well, let's see. But That would be
It's-
nice, wouldn't it? He would actually be the perfect manager for him, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you would
Because
say
he's
him,
a big promoter of youth, isn't he? So, yeah.
It's fair to say at flat_bastard, sorry, we've not seen a lot of him. We can't lie and just sit here and say, oh, he's good with this type of player, he's good with that. We're not going to lie to you. We've not seen a great deal of him. But we do appreciate you getting in touch. We appreciate the comment, the question. And hopefully we'll be seeing much more of him. I know he did have a few run-outs for Aberdeen in Europe. So at that age, that can't be a bad thing, can it? Hopefully we'll see him
Yeah.
donning the Scotland shirt in years to come.
In a world where sponsorship is more accessible than ever, that world exists at sportsponsorship.co.uk. Whether you're interested in making a difference to your local community or further afield, or perhaps you're looking for access to tens of thousands of followers online to push your brand further than ever, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk. That's sportsponsorship.co.uk.
Okay, time for a quiz, lads. And this week's quiz has involved zero preparation from me. You'll be delighted to hear. Well, I'm delighted to
Don't
hear.
they all?
Sometimes, hey, fuck off.
Oh, shots fired.
I'm going to explain how this works. You probably have seen this or heard of it before, but let me just show you. It's a game of football darts.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So
Right.
it's just based on their career club goals. You're going to start on 501 as you would in a game of darts, and then you can score up to 180. And if you score 180, that gets subtracted from your score of 501 down to 321. If you score 50, your score will go down by 50 to 461. And it's the first person to get to zero. So I'm going to say, ask Matthew. Matthew, how many just name a player. And we're going to go into their Wikipedia together. I'm going to share my screen. And it's this number right here that we're looking at. See this? This is Henrik Larsson, just
Jesus,
as an
Larsson.
example one.
Baller.
So he scored 325 club career goals. So that would be bust. You wouldn't be allowed that. It's too high. Maximum score of 180.
I thought it was
to be,
501 at darts, mate.
it is 501, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I
Yeah,
said you
get
get
over.
325.
Because there's 3 darts and it adds up to 180. So in darts, the max score is 180, and that's what we're going with. Okay.
Okay.
The only caveat for you is that they have to have played in Scottish football. They don't have to be Scottish, but so Henrik Larsson would be a valid answer, but you would get 0 points off your score because he is over 180.
Bloody tough.
Got you.
So,
That is
so we're going to
difficult,
start
actually.
with Matthew. Name a player.
Career goals all time. Okay.
Club goals.
Chifchi.
Nadir
that's a good shout.
Siftsy. Chifchi.
Come on, Chifchi. 100 at least.
We're on his Wikipedia page now. If you're listening along, if you're watching, you're exactly where you need to be.
Oh, it doesn't even do a total. God,
Don't
get
worry.
the maths up, Tab.
If we can do that, we can go down to the bottom. And it says 66. You've got
Oh,
a score of 66, Matthew.
Shite.
Well done.
Rubbish. He's pish.
Okay, Andrew, over to you. So, Matthew, you're down to 435.
Cult hero.
Johnny Russell.
Nice. Following the
Sticking
United
with the
theme.
Dundee United theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russell. He scored a few in America, did he not? America.
He might be close to one.
Yeah, maybe I've
Um,
overshot it, maybe.
I'm going to guess 100.
He is. Oh, it's going to have to go down the bottom for this one as
That's
well.
more than
It's
50 anyway.
exciting.
Oh,
130,
well
great
done.
score.
Well done, sir.
Thank you very much. I'll take that.
Matthew, back to you. So it's Andrew currently on 371,
Okay.
and Matt's on 435. Name your
I
player.
will go James Tavernier.
Oh, he's surely higher.
Oh, I think you've shot your load
180,
there, mate.
mental.
Maybe
100
not.
maybe.
146. What a score!
Wow. That's a brilliant
What
one.
a score! Okay, 435 minus 146 gives you 289, Matt. That's what you're on now.
Pew pew.
Andrew, back to you. You're on 371.
I'll go for
Don't go Neil McCann. He's scored about 400.
Yeah, no, there's no
You'd be
way.
definitely
I'd
busted
totally overshoot there. I will go for Lyndon Dykes.
Lyndon Dykes.
Lucky if you get 50 for that guy.
Now at Charlton Athletic, as we all know. Career stats for the man.
Oh,
80. A meagre 80.
Still young.
Thought he was.
Takes you down to 291,
that,
sir. I think. No, it doesn't. It takes you
Okay.
down to less than that.
Okay, I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to go...
You're
hold on.
currently on 289.
I'll go for James Forrest.
Oh, that's a really good shout because he's been around for so long as well.
James Forrest, Scottish footballer, born 1991. 74 it says at the top, but I will just scroll to the bottom just in case it's different. 110!
Decent in the cups, mate.
Miraculous. 110. That
come
takes
on.
you down to 179. He can finish.
Fucking hell.
179. So Andrew, you're on 291. Need a big score here to catch up.
Jan Venegur of Hesselink.
Oh, big one for me to type. Thanks for that.
I think he was in. Who was it? Top 5 aside? Was it? I saw a segment on it this week.
Oh, he's bust. It's 214.
Wow, what a clear.
It's a
Bollocks.
disaster. Matthew, it does come to you, and you can win here with 179. And there is a 10 buffer. I forgot to say at the start, so you can go to -10. You don't bust if you don't get bang on 0.
Let's go for Jason Cummings.
Oh,
Dingo.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Cum dog himself.
Jason Cummings currently on 179. Matthew, anything higher and
Oh, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. Oh,
177.
oh.
It's an
That's
unbelievable shout.
incredible. That's
Now
incredible.
has left himself he somehow needs to get someone who's scored only 12 goals in their career, a maximum of. Right, Andrew, 291 is your number.
I'll go
Trying
Lawrence
to apply the
Shankland.
pressure. Lawrence Shankland.
We bust
Maybe
again.
high, but is it bust?
Oh, surely not.
Oh,
It's 231. He's bust again.
Fuck me, man. Jesus, I thought he'd maybe just get me under there. Bastard.
Right, Matthew,
Well, good on him.
Someone that scored either
I'll go
anywhere between 2 or
for-
12 goals.
I'll go for Kieran Dowell.
Oh, that's an
Is it
interesting
Kieran or
shout.
Kieran?
Scored on
Dowell.
the
Scored
weekend there
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Kieran Dowell. Career goals.
He's not scored many, is he?
37. Bust, my friend. Andrew, you're still in with a
Bastard.
chance.
Bast.
I'm trying to think of strikers that were.
Prolific, but not too prolific.
Yeah, that's actually really quite difficult. Derek Riordan.
Shorter career, to be fair, so that could be
Yeah.
a good stab. 124. That's reasonable.
Yes, I'll take that. I'm just glad to be under. That's fine.
Brings you down to 167. You're on a finish. Treble 20, treble 19 for Bill.
Right. I'll go Connor Barron.
Oh, I
he scored
think
a goal?
that'll be extremely low.
Has he scored a goal?
Not for
Yeah.
Rangers yet.
He's not scored for Rangers. He scored for Aberdeen?
No, surely it must have.
Sure, he's got 1 goal at least. Come on, Bazo. 4.
4. He's won it. He's done it. He's well done, sir.
mate.
Oh,
Well done.
Connor Barron.
Takes you to -2. But since you are a minus, we'll give Andrew the chance to say someone.
Check
If
out
it's
exactly.
16, yeah, and if it's 167 or 168 to get you
Yep.
to -1, you've won the game.
Go on, Andrew. Go on, son.
I'll stick to who I was going to go with, but I'm not convinced that they're going to do that. It was more of a kind of tactical one. I was going to say Gary O'Connor.
Oh, come on. Could be.
Could
Guys
be
with
close, you know.
interesting career.
The
What do you need
purple
to get?
part of his Wikipedia page. Oh, here we go.
What does he need, Tam? 167, 168.
167 or 168. We're going to scroll nice and slow. The
Do
tension
the
is
math
building
while we
here.
go.
I
It's still
I
going.
can barely read it.
Here we go. Oh, gonna do it.
104.
Oh.
It's close, but no
104.
cigar.
It would have been a safety one, but yeah.
20 goals less than Riordan. Takes you down to a score of 53 you're left on. So well done, Matthew. Congratulations to you,
Well
sir.
done.
That was
Thanks, sir.
very well done.
Thank you.
Very well played. That was a great
Started off
game.
with Matthew singing by him winning the darts. You want to give us the darts song?
What? No.
Okay.
Alright, that one, yeah. Hi, hi, hi. Hi.
Well done. Potentially the most cringe thing we've ever done on this podcast, and we've done a lot of bad shit. That's us for now. Any final comments for our listeners, lads? Anything you want to pass on before we go?
Nah, just take it easy, yeah.
Just like, share, subscribe.
That's right.
There you go. And get some comments in. Tell us what you thought of today's episode. Tell us if you agree with what we thought should go in the bin, and tell us your predictions for the Scottish Cup as well. Interesting to see who you think's going to take it.
Would be very interesting indeed. And let us know if you like Bruce Walker. We will read your comments out, as we've noticed,
Yes.
with @flat_bastard
Who's his brother?
and Stu Rat from the previous week.
Who's his brother, Tam?
Name could be mentioned, but I've not.
Walker.
Can't remember.
OBE brother.
Looks-
It is a
looks
Walker
great.
OBE. John.
Walker. Johnny Walker.
John. Right, that's enough. Cheerio, bye. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.